Welcome back, fellow explorers, to another episode of our speculative evolution journey. Today, our expedition takes us to the remote islands of Verdantara, where life has undergone unique adaptations to thrive in these isolated ecosystems. The defining factors of an island are their isolation and size. These key factors will determine the kinds of organisms they can support. The longer an island is separated from the mainland, the more unique their ecosystems become. The most extreme examples of this are islands which have been separated since the first organisms made landfall. One such example is the island of Banos. This island is equipped with a temperate climate due to its position. It was originally colonized by the chromatropici and quadrupod. Descendants of the chromatropici quickly grow into small trees with a wide base and multiple leaves. We will call these plants the chromatrifica. A descendant of the quadrupod quickly takes to the trees. They evolve longer legs to clamber and swing along the trees. They feed on the leaves of the chromatrifica, living up to 10 years and growing up to a half of a foot. We'll call these clambering quadrupod the brolipod. Other descendants of the quadrupod stay on the ground, becoming small grazers. Their shells become more banded to allow for greater flexibility. They position their eye on a stalk, allowing them to see over and around larger objects. They can grow up to 2 feet and live for up to 17 years. We'll call these unique creatures the corycochili. The island of Banos remains in a state of stability with no natural predators. But these conditions won't stay the same for long. Rafting events occur when organisms float from one land mass to another. This event is rare but has been seen on Earth, such as how New World monkeys are descended from African monkeys which rafted to the Americas. Rafting events tend to involve smaller animals whose weight can be supported by floating vegetation. A prime candidate for rafting are the hexoforms. In one chance occurrence, a group of hexoforms may find themselves on a raft headed to Banos. Most all niches on Banos will already be occupied by the quadrupods, but one rather vacant niche is that of a predator. Therefore, one branch of hexoforms may evolve to feed on the corycochili. They will evolve to be much larger and will hunt by flipping the corycochili on their backs, exposing their soft underbelly. We will call these island hunters the neotheropod. They can grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 19 years. While the ancestors of the chromatrifica had a head start, other plants may need to find other methods of dispersal. The swamps that cover much of Xeranthia's coasts may favor a different dispersal mechanism. Once these plants are fertilized, they will grow a bulbous seed pod. These pods will detach from the parent plant and float into the water until they find a suitable place to take root. This strategy is seen on Earth in coconuts, among others. The floating pods will allow these plants to colonize islands very effectively. We will call these plants the campylophyto. One such island or islands the campylophyto may colonize are the Qatar Islands, with the largest island being named Isla Qatar. Isla Qatar will act as a safe haven devoid of any competition. But it won't remain this way for long. Some of the most common island colonizers are flying species. On Earth, seafaring birds are the most likely candidates. On Verdantara, the only flying clade is the pinetope. One offshoot of this clade may adapt for a seafaring lifestyle, evolving longer wings allowing it to cover long distances with ease. They can spend months out at sea feeding on the aquatic life. We will call these seafaring flyers the apostate. They can grow up to 5 feet long and live for up to 23 years. Once the apostate evolve, they will quickly make their way to many remote islands. Once there, they find a safe haven with food in abundance and devoid of any predators. The apostates may initially use these islands as mating grounds where they will lay their eggs safe from any predators. Some apostates may take this to a greater extreme, with some species spending their entire lives there. On the islands of Qatar, one group of apostates may lose their wings. The pinetope first evolved flight to move more effectively through the trees. It came with the added benefit of being able to easily escape predators. But flight comes at a cost requiring huge amounts of energy to sustain. Therefore, if a flying species finds itself on an isolated island with few to no predators, flight may not be worth the cost. Flightlessness has evolved many times on Earth, as seen in ostriches and emus. This flightless clade will be called the Ambuloptera. They can grow up to 4 feet long and live for up to 25 years. Once the Ambuloptera evolve, they will quickly diversify to fill all the island's niches. One group may evolve to become herbivorous, growing larger, with modified feet and legs. Their wings may shrink, becoming almost invisible, and their beak will become blunt to grind plant matter. We will call these forms the Voliptera. They can grow to be 5 feet tall and live for up to 27 years. They will be found on only the largest of the Qatar islands, such as Isla Qatar itself. Another descendant of the Ambuloptera may evolve a predatory lifestyle, with a serrated beak and powerful legs to propel itself towards prey. Their claws may become sharper to grapple onto prey. We will call these predators the Ramphoptera. They can grow up to 5 feet long and live up to 25 years. The islands of Qatar are not the only places where flightlessness may evolve. Isla Paios is inhabited by many of the rainforest flora due to it having once been close to Xiranthia, but has since drifted further out to sea. Flightless descendants of the pinetope may be found here. These unique creatures may evolve a semi-bipedal posture, feeding on anything they can find on the forest floor. We will call these unique critters the Diastyvici. They grow up to 3 feet and live up to 20 years. Another variety of Diastyvici may become lumbering grazers. Their beaks will broaden along with their claws. They will feed on any low-growing foliage they can find, growing up to 4 feet and living for up to 24 years. We will call these forms the Kilomavici. Isla Paios will exist in a state of stability for thousands of years. But by chance a small group of Anathesipod may raft to Isla Paios. Once there, they may quickly evolve into swift island predators. They grow much larger and are equipped with a serrated beak. They hunt by climbing into trees, where they wait for prey to pass by. They then leap from the tree onto their prey, delivering a quick killing blow. We will call these hunters the Neganon. They grow up to 3 feet and live for up to 22 years. The apostate will continue to spread, colonizing every island they come across. But a perfect opportunity may arise for other island colonists. Ocean hotspots fuel volcanoes which rise above the surface. This process creates brand new islands. On Earth, islands like Hawaii were formed by this process. One such hotspot may create a new island, which we'll call Isla Miscellaneos. At first, this island will be nothing but barren rock, but eventually a coastal variety of Pyrgophyta may make their way here. They will do so by evolving a singular large drift fruit that originates near the meristem. Once they arrive at the island, they will quickly diversify. We will call these organisms the Epiplophilo. Shortly after the island is colonized, a rafting event may occur. The hexoforms are prime candidates for rafting because they are small enough to be supported by mats of vegetation, or the drift fruit of the Epiplophilo. Once there, they will undergo another instance of an adaptive radiation. Some may grow larger, becoming grazers. Similarly to the Cirrhopodia, these creatures will use their tail as a sort of third leg. We will call these strange hexoforms the Scopelopard. They live up to 15 years old and grow up to 2 feet tall. Yet other hexoforms may become active predators. Equipped with a long, slender build, they grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 16 years. We will call these slender forms the Ramphonicos. The last island we will cover is the island of Gigantos. This is the largest island on Verdantara and is relatively close to Xiranthia. Before the first major continental shift, the island was so close, in fact, that even the largest animals like the dendropard could make their way to the island. But once Gigantos began to drift away, populations became separated and began to differentiate. Unlike the mainland, Gigantos may not have enough resources to support the dendropods. This will push them to adapt. Foster's rule states that organisms undergo a change in body size to suit the availability of resources. This effect is most commonly seen on islands due to their limited resources. Thus, the dendropods on Gigantos may shrink, which means they won't need as much food to sustain themselves. We'll call these miniature dendropods the Serichnopod. They grow up to 5 feet tall and live for up to 20 years. Often islands support creatures like no other, with strange and unique adaptations that may not be as viable on the mainland. One example of this is the lemurs of Madagascar, which among their ranks have bizarre-looking creatures such as the eye. On Gigantos, another relative of the dendropod may specialize for a bizarre feeding method. They will feed on mud, sifting out the food from the muck. They use their shovel-like beak to scrape mud into their mouths and have webbed feet to cross rivers. We will call these bizarre beasts the viviphodias. They can grow up to 4 feet long and live for up to 26 years. Another interesting inhabitant of Gigantos may live near the rivers. Relatives of the apostate, these creatures might lose the ability of powered flight but retain their gliding abilities. Their feet might evolve into hook-like structures, with them using their hind legs to hang on branches while their front legs are used to snatch up fish. We will call these grasping creatures the piastropod. They grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 22 years. The proviapod most certainly have descendants on Gigantos. They too may have been affected by Foster's rule, becoming smaller along with their smaller prey. Their main food sources are the viviphodias and the serichnopod. They grow up to 5 feet long and live for up to 24 years. We'll call them the scopicopoda. From the miniature serichnopod to the bizarre scopelopod, each creature on Verdantara's many islands tells a tale of resilience. As Verdantara's continents continue to evolve, so too will its inhabitants. What extraordinary possibilities lie ahead? In the next episode, we will explore the behavioral adaptations Verdantara's inhabitants may undergo. A huge thank you to all the artists who made fan art for this episode. You make these videos look so much better. If you want to join the Discord server, the link will be in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts on these incredible creatures. Your questions, theories, and ideas might shape the direction of our future explorations. Together, we'll unlock the secrets of this captivating world, one step at a time.